And finally, the West African nation of Nigeria is on the brink of an economic meltdown. Right?
Hey! Chukwunyekwala obodo a bụ Nigeria aka. Chukwunyekwala anyị aka n'obodo a. Kedu ife anyị jisi wee kote? Onye ka anyị mejọrọ? Onye ka anyị mejọrọ? Ka ọ na-egesi apụ n'ọnọdụ anyị nọ. Negodu ka mba ụwa na-etebọzi anyị. Obodo Chukwu gọziri. Onweghị obodo Chukwu gọziri n'osu wee gọzie obodo a bụ Nigeria. Onweghị. N'obodo a ka ị ga-afụ mmanụ. Obodo a ka ị ga-afụ gold. Obodo a ka ị ga-afụ silver. Ihe niile other country na-achọ achọ dị n'obodo a. Ma nke atapụgolu, ma nke na-atapụbe. Mana ihe niile a ndị bad leaders jideli aka na-eli sọnsọfa. Agụ na-egbuzi ndị a na-achị achị. Just look at a whole international media si ebuzi Nigeria on a bad light. Gwaza manya ndaga jina afọ ma ọ bụ na ya travel obodo Igbo. Ebe osuwe kasịkwuo njọ bụ na ihe niile efu na-eme, agụ niile efu na-agụ, na ọ bụ na asị ka atụkwa election ọzọ taa, na ndị a niile efu agụ na-agụ ka e vote kwalu their brother, maka ebubatakwa sentiment tribalism na their voting. Achọbe ịma ife, anyị chọbe ịmụta ife. Chukwunyekwala anyị aka, daalụkwanụ.
And finally, the West African nation of Nigeria is on the brink of an economic meltdown. Rising inflation rates and skyrocketing prices of food have exacerbated the crisis. Basic necessities have become luxuries for people in Nigeria. Desperate to get food, residents in Nigeria's capital city of Abuja are breaking into government warehouses to steal food and grains. To contain the crisis, the Nigerian government has now beefed up security at its food warehouses. Here's our report.
Africa's largest economy is battling its worst ever crisis. With soaring inflation and skyrocketing food costs, Nigeria is on the brink of a meltdown. And the turmoil has been the most punishing for its people. There have been angry protests and nationwide strikes. But the plight of Nigeria's citizens is only deteriorating. A litre of petrol costs more than 3 times what it did just months ago. Wages have not been keeping up with the mounting cost of living. What's worse is that prices of food staples have more than doubled in the past year.
I cannot afford to buy petrol to power my generator to water the farm because of the high cost of petrol. Things are difficult in the country. Food is expensive as well as several other items. The price of gari and rice are high. With these high costs of goods, we cannot train our children in school or manage to buy any food.
Now desperate to fight starvation, many are turning to theft and looting. In Nigeria's capital city of Abuja, hundreds are forcing their way into warehouses and stealing food. Incidents of food theft and looting of warehouses are becoming a common sight in Nigeria. The authorities, overwhelmed by the scale of the crisis, are scrambling to maintain order. They're calling it a crime beyond hunger. The National Emergency Management Agency has vowed to fortify its facilities. The security measures around these food facilities have now been tightened. The government says it's determined to prevent further breaches of law and order. Experts believe the current situation is so dire that it might leave the future generations struggling to get food.
We are suffering.
We are suffering in Nigeria. It was not like this before, and we want a change for good. There is real hunger in Nigeria. Children are hungry, adults are hungry, and there's just too much suffering.
Thousands are devoid of basic food products like meat, eggs, and milk. In the northern regions, desperation is reaching new heights every day, as people resort to consuming low-grade rice that's fit only for fish. Anthills are becoming treasure troves as people scavenge for stored grains. A testament to the dire circumstances gripping the nation. The origins of Nigeria's woes can be traced back to the policies enacted by its president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Since assuming office in May last year, his decisions have only exacerbated the nation's plight. He scrapped fuel subsidies, brought in currency controls, and this shot up petrol prices and plummeted Nigeria's currency naira against the US dollar. Inflation rates have been on a relentless climb in Nigeria. In December, it rose above 30%, the highest in 27 years. To be precise, Tinubu's policy changes unleashed a tidal wave of economic turmoil. However, the Nigerian president touts these measures as bold reforms aimed at reviving the economy. He says that by doing this, Nigeria has saved over 1 trillion naira, which is equivalent to over $1 billion US. He also asked citizens to be patient, as he says the reforms will take some time to take effect. Tinubu believes his policies will attract foreign investment, which will turn Nigeria's fate. But critics argue that the policy changes have only served to widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots. The situation has only pushed the most vulnerable members of society into further despair.